Sagittarius, you're stressed by single-family life. Discover cosmic relief. The lonely fire of responsibility. There are nights when you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how life turned into a sequence of responsibilities instead of a journey of wonder. The dishes are done, the house is quiet, but your mind refuses to rest. You used to chase sunsets, not deadlines. You once dreamed of wide horizons, road trips, and laughter echoing under open skies. Now, freedom feels like a distant country you can't quite afford to visit. As a Sagittarius woman, independence is woven into your soul. You were born to explore, to learn, to expand. But after divorce, the world you built may feel smaller, tighter. A world of single-family life where every decision, every cost, every comfort depends on you. The same fire that once fueled your courage now flickers under the weight of bills, late-night worries, and children's needs that never pause. You tell yourself you're strong, and you are. But even fire needs tending. Even the archer, bold and untamed, must rest her bow. Beneath your resilience hides a quiet ache. The longing for emotional space, for someone to lean on, for the lightness you used to feel when you trusted the universe to catch you. This chapter of life isn't punishment. It's initiation. The cosmos hasn't forgotten you. Jupiter, your ruling planet, still whispers promises of abundance, growth, and renewal. But to hear it, you must first slow down. The healing begins not in escape but in presence. In learning to find freedom within the rhythm of your own breath. Within the home you've rebuilt. Within the woman you are becoming. So let's journey together, through the stars, through the fatigue, and through the tender rediscovery of your Sagittarius soul. The world hasn't shrunk, dear Archer. It's simply waiting for you to lift your gaze again. Chapter 1: The hidden weight of independence sparkles. There's a quiet kind of exhaustion that settles into your bones when you've been strong for too long. The Sagittarius woman, radiant in her independence, rarely shows it. She moves through her days like a warrior, making breakfasts, paying bills, holding space for everyone's emotions, while her own spirit quietly aches for rest. The world applauds her self-sufficiency, but it rarely sees the loneliness beneath it. Independence was once your anthem. You cherished the freedom to choose, to roam, to reinvent yourself. But now that same independence has become a weight you carry alone. When the marriage ended, you might have thought, "At least I'll be free." Yet what followed was a freedom laced with responsibility. An endless list of decisions you make without a partner's voice beside you. There's pride in that, yes. But there's also a fatigue that seeps deeper than sleep can fix. Across Europe and the US, studies show that single mothers, especially those navigating midlife, experience nearly 40% higher rates of sleep disturbance and double the risk of depression compared to married women. But numbers can't capture the quiet heartbreak of lying awake, wondering if you're doing enough, or if anyone even notices how hard you try. For Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, optimism has always been your shield. You tell yourself it's fine, that you'll figure it out, that it could be worse. Yet when Jupiter's expansive energy is overused, it turns inward, spreading too wide, scattering your energy, burning through your reserves. What was once faith becomes pressure. What was once enthusiasm becomes restlessness. Take Maria, a 49-year-old Sagittarius from Lisbon. After her divorce, she poured herself into work, determined to prove she could maintain her lifestyle and care for her teenage son alone. She smiled through parent-teacher conferences, social gatherings, and late-night spreadsheets. But beneath her laughter was a kind of emptiness she couldn't name. When she finally confided in a friend, her voice trembled as she whispered, "I'm tired of being the strong one." That confession was her turning point. Because truth in astrology and in life is Sagittarius sacred medicine. Once you name the wound, you open the doorway to healing. So what if strength didn't mean endurance but honesty? What if independence wasn't about doing everything alone, but about trusting yourself enough to admit when you're weary? The hidden weight of independence begins to lift when you stop pretending that being capable means being invulnerable. The cosmos reminds you, Jupiter's wisdom is not just expansion, it's also generosity. And that includes generosity toward yourself. Allow yourself a pause. Sigh. A slow morning with no guilt. Let your independence be spacious, not suffocating. You are still that wild archer, but even she must sometimes lower her bow and gaze at the stars, remembering that strength can look like softness too. Crescent Moon. Chapter 2: Reclaiming the Sagittarius Spirit. Freedom within the routine sparkles. There's a moment in every Sagittarius woman's life when she realizes that freedom isn't always about escape. Sometimes it's about presence. After years of defining yourself through movement, adventure, and discovery, being anchored in routine can feel like confinement. Yet beneath the surface of repetition lies a quiet, transformative power. The ability to rediscover wonder in the familiar, to turn daily life into a sacred ritual rather than a cage. When your marriage ended, the rhythm of your days likely changed overnight. Gone were shared breakfasts, dual decisions, or another pair of hands for support. In their place came new habits: early alarms, late nights, packed lunches, solo conversations with the ceiling fan when the world felt too heavy. For a Sagittarius soul ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion and wisdom, this monotony feels unnatural. You were born to roam, to question, to feel alive in motion. But now, every morning begins the same. And yet, the cosmos is whispering something vital. Freedom doesn't vanish when movement stops. It evolves. Astrologically, your longing for expansion lives between two powerful houses, the fourth house of home and the ninth house of adventure. The fourth asks you to nurture roots. The ninth calls you to explore horizons. The tension between these two is not your enemy. It's your teacher. You're learning how to expand within your own four walls, to journey inward when outward movement feels impossible. Imagine this. Each morning before the household wakes, you light a candle and breathe deeply. Inhaling courage, exhaling chaos. 10 minutes of silence, eyes closed, hands on your heart. This is not idleness. This is Jupiterian ritual. A reclaiming of sacred space in the midst of responsibility. During Sagittarius moon phases, this ritual amplifies. Your emotions align with cosmic energy, and reflection becomes a doorway. Try journaling with questions like, where does my spirit feel confined? Where can I create space even here? What does freedom mean to me now? You might discover that freedom no longer means flight. It might mean peace in your living room at dawn, or permission to say no without guilt. It could mean listening to your body when it whispers for rest instead of pushing through the noise of obligation. Take Evelyn, a 52-year-old Sagittarius living in Toronto. After years of corporate chaos and post-divorce exhaustion, she decided to create micro-freedom rituals. Each evening she would sit by her window, sip herbal tea, and trace constellations with her gaze. That 15-minute ritual became her sanctuary. She called it her Jupiter window. Over time her anxiety softened, her sleep improved, and her sense of wonder, once buried under routine, began to glow again. Sagittarius thrives on discovery, but the most profound journey you can take right now isn't to another continent. It's back to yourself. There is a vast landscape within you, waiting to be explored through mindfulness, breath, and acceptance. Your spirit doesn't need to escape to be free. It simply needs to expand in new directions: compassion, curiosity, creativity. Try integrating small soul adventures into your routine. Listen to a philosophy podcast while folding laundry. Let new ideas travel through you. Write letters to your future self, asking her what she has learned about balance. On weekends, take a short drive to somewhere you've never been. A local park, a quiet cafe, a library corner. Sometimes a new street can shift your entire inner landscape. Through these small, intentional acts, you awaken Jupiter's gift. The ability to find meaning everywhere. The sky is still above you, even when your feet are grounded. Repeat this affirmation each morning. I create freedom in stillness. My life expands through presence. With each repetition, the old narrative of restriction begins to dissolve. You are no longer the Sagittarius who runs to escape. You are the one who stays to transform. This is the alchemy of maturity, the evolution of the wildfire into a gentle, enduring flame. And when life feels heavy again, when the dishes pile up or loneliness creeps in, pause and look up. Remember, the same stars that once guided explorers across oceans now guide you through your kitchen, your to-do list, your heartache. The cosmos hasn't dimmed. You've simply learned to see it from a different angle. Freedom, dear Archer, is not a destination. It's a frequency. One that you can tune into anytime you return to your breath, your body, your truth. You are still traveling even here. Chapter 3: The Cosmic Village. Finding support beyond the stars sparkles. There's a quiet illusion many Sagittarius women carry. The belief that asking for help diminishes strength. You've built your identity around capability, independence, and motion. You're the one others turn to for advice, for light, for laughter when things feel heavy. Yet beneath that radiant confidence often lies a deep solitude, the kind that no amount of to-do lists or late-night self-pep talks can soothe. You were raised to believe in self-reliance. You've mastered it. But self-reliance was never meant to mean isolation. For a Sagittarius woman, whose soul thrives in connection and shared exploration, disconnection can feel like spiritual starvation. You need exchange of ideas, stories, energy, and emotion. You need people who speak your language of optimism and curiosity, who remind you that your light shines brighter when reflected in others. Astrologically, your ruler Jupiter teaches that growth is collective. The same planet that expands horizons also governs community wisdom and mentorship. In ancient times, Sagittarius was the traveler, but also the teacher, the one who returned from long journeys to share what she learned. In this phase of life, your journey is not solitary but communal. The new terrain you're meant to explore isn't an external landscape, but a shared emotional one. The village that exists beyond your doorstep, or perhaps across glowing screens. Many Sagittarius women struggle here. It feels easier to keep a polished face than to admit vulnerability. You tell yourself, I don't want to burden anyone, or everyone else seems to have it harder. But this quiet dismissal of your own needs cuts you off from the very medicine you crave: belonging. Healing cannot exist in isolation. Even the stars depend on constellations to shine their stories. Consider Lena, a 47-year-old Sagittarius mother from Chicago. After her divorce, she kept her pain private for years, showing up for her kids with unwavering strength. But eventually exhaustion caught up. One winter evening, she stumbled upon a local astrology-based women's circle online. At first, she lurked quietly, reading posts, absorbing others' reflections. Then one night she shared her own story. She expected silence. Instead, messages poured in, women from all over the world resonating with her pain and her courage. They began meeting monthly on Zoom, pulling tarot cards together, discussing Jupiter transits, laughing through tears. Lena calls that group her cosmic village. It didn't replace her freedom. It deepened it. There's profound healing in shared vulnerability. When you allow yourself to be seen in your authenticity, not just your strength but your fatigue, your fear, your longing, you create space for others to do the same. Connection is the most sacred form of alchemy. It turns isolation into solidarity, exhaustion into empathy, and shame into courage. Look to the stars for guidance on timing and energy alignment. When Jupiter forms harmonious aspects with Venus or the Moon, the cosmos opens pathways for new friendships, spiritual connections, and heart-healing collaborations. These are ideal moments to join women's circles, online communities, or creative workshops. You might find resonance in a local meditation group, a book club, or an astrology forum where people share lunar reflections. The form matters less than the frequency, the vibration of mutual upliftment and emotional truth. If you're unsure where to start, begin by expressing intention. Whisper to the night sky, I'm ready for my cosmic village. Sagittarius energy works through magnetism. When you open your heart, your tribe appears. Because you were never meant to do this alone. Jupiter's blessing is abundance, and that includes love, connection, and spiritual companionship. As you heal, you'll realize that your independence doesn't weaken in community. It flourishes. Each shared story, each honest conversation, each laugh through tears expands your world again. And one day you'll look around and realize, the freedom you thought you lost wasn't stolen. It was waiting for you to rediscover it through others' hearts. You are still the archer, but now you aim together under the same wide sky. Chapter 4: Turning Burnout into Breakthrough. There comes a moment when exhaustion itself becomes a teacher. When the burnout that once felt like failure begins to reveal its hidden wisdom. Sagittarius women are rarely still long enough to listen to fatigue. You push through, finding purpose in motion and meaning in responsibility. But eventually your body, your emotions, and even the cosmos whisper the same truth. You cannot outrun depletion. You can only transform it. In astrology, fire signs like Sagittarius don't rest by stopping. They heal by transmuting. Burnout is your inner fire misdirected. A sacred signal that your energy has been burning outward for too long without feeding inward. The challenge isn't to extinguish the flame, but to redirect it, to turn duty into devotion, chaos into creation, loneliness into luminous strength. Your ruling planet, Jupiter, rules expansion, perspective, and wisdom through experience. When you're in the depths of fatigue, Jupiter invites you to rise above the noise, to see the broader arc of your story. You are not merely surviving single-family life. You're undergoing a cosmic apprenticeship in resilience. Each sleepless night, each hard-earned moment of calm, is chiseling you into the embodiment of wisdom your sign was born to express. Think of the archer again, bow drawn, gaze fixed on the horizon. When her arms tremble with effort, she doesn't drop the bow. She adjusts her stance. Burnout, in this sense, isn't collapse. It's recalibration. It's life's way of saying, your aim has shifted too far outward. Come back. Find your center. To begin this alchemy, you must tend to the fire within you gently. Try the Sagittarius Moon Ritual for renewal. A simple yet powerful way to transform exhaustion into energy. As the moon glows bright, especially during the waxing or full Sagittarius phase, create a small sacred space for yourself. Light a candle, symbolizing your Jupiterian flame. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and allow the flicker of the flame to mirror your heartbeat. Write down the fears or burdens you've carried. Guilt, loneliness, the belief that you must do everything alone. Fold the paper, hold it over your heart, whisper gratitude for the lessons these struggles have taught you. Then burn it safely, letting the smoke rise as a prayer to the universe. As the ashes cool, write new affirmations, seeds for renewal. I rest without guilt. I am divinely supported, even when unseen. Each challenge refines my wisdom and expands my freedom. Keep these affirmations near your bedside. Repeat them at dawn, when the light is soft and forgiving. Over time, you'll notice subtle shifts. A renewed sense of calm, laughter returning unforced, decisions made from clarity rather than panic. This is Jupiter's promise fulfilled. Expansion through healing. Take Renee, a 51-year-old Sagittarius from Melbourne. After years of doing everything herself, managing work, raising 2 teens, supporting aging parents, she hit a wall of exhaustion that no coffee could cure. One evening, she performed her first moon ritual. Felt small, even silly at first. But something inside her shifted. She began setting boundaries, asking for help, allowing stillness. Within months, she launched a small coaching circle for other single women, guiding them through self-renewal using astrology. What once felt like burnout became her breakthrough. A bridge between her pain and her purpose. This is the Sagittarius path at its highest vibration, transforming experience into wisdom, and wisdom into light for others. Your fire doesn't fade when life feels hard. It evolves. What used to be wild flame becomes a guiding lantern, steady and compassionate. Remember, you are ruled by the planet of hope. Even in fatigue, even in solitude, Jupiter hums softly through your spirit, reminding you that everything, even heartbreak, even exhaustion, is part of your expansion. Every dawn you rise to care, to try again, to love despite the ache. You are embodying cosmic courage. Repeat this mantra as your daily invocation. My freedom is sacred, even in responsibility. I am expanding through everything I experience. You're not who you were before the divorce. You're wiser, deeper, more attuned to your own rhythm. Burnout didn't break you, dear Archer. It burned away everything that wasn't aligned with your truth. What remains is pure gold. Your essence shining through, ready to guide others who walk the same lonely roads you once did. This is not the end of your journey. It's the radiant beginning of a new one, where your strength is rooted in softness, and your fire burns with purpose, not exhaustion. Conclusion: the light returns. A healing closure. Some nights, when the house is finally quiet and the moon hangs low outside your window, you may still feel that tender ache, the one that reminds you how much you've given, how deeply you've loved, how far you've come. But now, as you breathe into that stillness, something feels different. The exhaustion no longer owns you. It hums softly beneath gratitude, because through the fatigue, through the fire, you've found your way back to yourself. The Sagittarius woman has always been a seeker of meaning, of truth, of freedom. Yet midlife, with its changes and challenges, asked you to seek not in distant places, but within the chambers of your own heart. And there you've discovered that freedom isn't the absence of responsibility. It's the presence of faith. It's trusting that even when life narrows, Your spirit can still expand. Your ruling planet Jupiter has guided you here. Not to the edge of burnout, but to the threshold of awakening. The journey of the archer was never meant to be easy. Each arrow you've drawn, each decision to rise again, to nurture, to create beauty from struggle, has refined your purpose. You are no longer chasing horizons. You are the horizon. Vast, luminous, ever-evolving. Let this new chapter of your life be one of softness. Let your routines become sacred. Your solitude become sanctuary. Remember that your independence is not a fortress, but a field, open to connection, laughter, and possibility. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to receive. You are allowed to be both strong and tender, both teacher and student, both giver and dreamer. As you close this reading, pause for a moment. Place your hand over your heart. Feel its steady rhythm, the pulse of Jupiter within you. Whisper this affirmation under your breath. I honor my fire. I rest when I need. I trust the stars to guide me home. Because home is not just where you live. It's the peace you create inside yourself. And tonight, dear Sagittarius, the light has returned. Not from somewhere far away, but from within you, glowing quietly, eternally, beautifully.